All right, hello everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started on our next glass blowing demo. If you're not currently in the Hot Glass Academy tent and want to watch the demo, head over this way because we're getting started right about now. If you are in the tent, welcome. We're about to get started on our demo. We are Hot Glass Academy out of Georgia. We travel around the country and do this mobile glass blowing studio, so we can pretty much set up shop anywhere. And we'd like to shout out to RT Rogers for sponsoring us for the propane for this event and melting all our glass that you see over in this oven over here. So over here is Peter up front. He will be the gaffer for this demo. The gaffer in glass blowing is the person that's kind of directing what we're making. So we work in teams typically, and we always have a gaffer, and that person's kind of in charge of the main piece of art. This is their baby, and they have a team of assistants that help them. So over here we have James, who will be assisting for this demo, and myself as well. I'm also James, and I will be emceeing and then possibly assisting if Peter needs a second hand. So if you guys have any questions at all during this demo, just shout them out. It is really loud in here with the furnace, but feel free to just interrupt at any time or just shout, because we like to get all the questions answered. We don't want you to just quietly waiting there with your confusion. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is our glass furnace right here. Inside is molten clear glass, which we start with. Here Peter has gathered a little bit of that glass out of the furnace on this solid steel rod here. So it looks yellow, but this is just 2,000 degree clear glass. It's so hot, it's kind of emitting light, it's glowing. Kind of like your stove top. If you get it really hot, it'll glow orange. This clear glass is just glowing orange. So we've gathered a little bit of glass. We came outside of the furnace to let it just chill up in just the ambient temperature. It's going from 2,000 degrees to 70-something degrees. So that's going to cool it very quickly. So you can see he's built up a little more mass. You'll notice he's constantly rotating the pipe, because it's kind of like honey at this temperature. It wants to drip off. So pay attention to the angle of the pipe and the rotation. That is the hardest thing to learn in glass blowing. It's just controlling glass and constantly rotating. He's also keeping in mind his angle. If he angles it down, it's going to elongate the glass. If he holds it up, it's going to squat it back. So you're constantly using gravity as your main shaping tool in glass blowing. This is our best tool because it steals the least amount of heat out of the glass compared to using a steel tool or wooden tool or any tool for that matter when you're actually touching the glass. We're just using the air and gravity. Are you gathering again on top of this?
Yeah, I'm going to do this shoot. I'm going to do like a half of
It's all going to be solid? Yeah, okay. All right, so unfortunately for some of you, if you came over here for glass blowing, we actually won't be blowing at all. This is going to be a solid sculpture. So sometimes we don't actually inflate the glass. Like you see a lot of these vessel forms, they're all hollow, but sometimes we make solid things like these clovers, for instance. They're cute. These are pretty small, solid sculptures, hearts, pen holders, flowers. We also have larger stuff, like there's a Dalmatian dog right here. I don't know if there's any other than that table that's solid. Those are all hollow. So sometimes we just start with solid glass based on what we're making, and whether we need to inflate it and use that air to shape it or not. So today, you're in for we're always thinking of where glass sculpture because we have to break it off there again at the very end. So it's a very difficult spot or a very obvious spot. Like if it was on this back, you would have a big blob or break mark on the back of the dinosaur, which is obviously not something we want. That's going to be a feature that you would see right away when you have it on a table. So typically you put it underneath at the bottom, on the feet or the belly, somewhere you can conceal or then later clean up a little easier. Yeah.
And then I'll take it over and do the prong. I'll just like pre-make the core so it's ready.
So we're going to get ready to do that soon. It looks like he's got that line there. He's asking me to gather a little bit. Glass on his rod, just let this cool down. I'm going to quench it or barber.
You can quench it. Okay.
So now we're going to make what's called a punty. This is not going to be a normal punty. A punty is basically an attachment point where we're going to attach to this to flip its angle so we can heat that neck and the head. And it's a temporary connection until we're done with the piece. So Peter's starting that on a separate rod here. But this is going to be a normal punny. A normal punny for like a vessel or something would just be kind of a dome of glass. on the end of the pipe. He's going to make kind of what's called like a fork punny or sculptural punny. So it's not, it's kind of atypical. It's going to have two attachment points. It's going to be kind of like a Y shape that we're going to attach on there. Are you going to do just the two? Yeah. So you're going to shape that up. This is very tricky because we want to attach it to the dinosaur. You have these thin kind of like arms that we want to kind of cool up so they don't move around when we attach the dinosaur, and the dinosaur just flops all over the place and we'll have zero control. We want to kind of cool that up, make sure it's the same width of the legs. I think he's going to go crossways from one rear leg to one front leg, so it's the most stable as possible. This is a tricky angle because now the dinosaur, instead of being in lengthways with the pipe, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be attached to the bottom of it. So now it's going to be a lot wider. It's going to be more like a T connection than as it is now. So we are limited in size of what we can make in our furnace because of this doorway. So if it gets any wider than that doorway, we're out of luck. We have to get it off of there as soon as possible, whether that's breaking it, throwing it away, or putting it in the kiln to keep it. You guys have any questions at all? Comments? Nope. Perfect. Alright, so here we go. He's going to attach that first point and that second point to those two legs. Try not to break any lights. Fine job. We're going to add a little water to that constriction point. See James doing that with some tweezers. And then just with a little vibration, we pop that right off of there.
We're dinosaur already. No more beaver.
All right, so you can see that kind of precarious connection there we have. We have that sculptural punny on there. We're attached to those two fine points on the legs. Remember, later on, we have to detach this from that pipe ideally without having giant chunks of that punny come off onto the dinosaur, or those legs of the dinosaur break off the punny. Obviously, that would be bad. I wanted to break on those connection points. So this is what's called a cold connection. He had that Y shape, a little bit hotter than the legs of the dinosaur, so there's a lot of tension or stress in that connection point. So later on it will break intentionally there, or hopefully that's always the goal, as long as our temperatures were just right. Alright, so now you can see spot heating on that neck and head area. We can start heating that up. We do have to keep this whole thing warm. He's asked me to turn down the fan or turn it away. Because anything that will just chill the glass is obviously not good, especially like a strong breeze or a fan. Now that we're kind of nearing the end of this piece, we have all these fine, thin connection points. We have those little legs, we have that tiny, thin tail. Those parts can chill very easily and start cracking and popping. We want them to keep fairly warm. The body's going to hold the most heat because it's the thickest amount of glass. So if you were wondering if it's difficult to blow glass outside, the answer is yes. It's very tricky. You are kind of limited what you can do because your working window is so short. If it was a really cold day or windy day, this would chill it very fast. It could break just with a strong breeze. So they're constantly going back to the furnace. James is doing it's called flashing the piece, as I mentioned before, just going in there, not trying to achieve any movement. He's just trying to keep the whole thing warm while we focus the heat with the torch on that neck portion. You can see we're nearing the width of our doorway already. We haven't even stretched this neck out. So you may be wondering, like myself as well, what we're going to do next. Does anybody have any questions now? Any dinosaur jokes? Peter has a really good one. He told me this morning. You gonna share it? the one I just heard. It's pretty good. Actually, I have heard it before. I hate to the reference. What do you call a dinosaur with no eyes?
From Jurassic Park.
Do you think he saw us?
We're talking dinosaurs. I'll take this. Yeah, we're trying to get them in the zone. We got all kinds of room in here.
It looks like we're nearing that sculptural heat. Start getting that orange glow built up in the neck and the head. Looks like he's ready to start pulling that. He's made a little cooler handle on the end there you can grab with this steel tool. These are called diamond shears. You can see the front of them. They have a little diamond shape that he's grabbing the glass with. This is the cutting edge, so it actually closes like an aperture around the glass instead of straight across, so you can cut in the round. So he's using this to grab that handle and stretch that in increments. So it's starting to look like a Brachiosaurus, I believe. What's that?
Swan dinosaur.
A swan dinosaur. It's a very elegant dinosaur. So if you didn't see us coloring this glass in the beginning, this is going to be a light kind of like aquamarine blue and yellowish green. So it should be pretty light in color, kind of glow in the light. It'll look kind of dull, kind of ambery color right now because it is still over 1,000 degrees. So it is very warm, even though it's pretty solid. Yep. So you're gonna put a little fin on there.
I got a little spiky thing.
Little hairdo, little spiky thing. Okay. Are you gonna pull that from the shape or add it? Gonna do a little detail to the top of the head there. A little dinosaur do. I can hear the Jurassic Park theme songs right here. It's gonna be stuck in everyone's head. I couldn't find Walk the Dinosaur. I was looking it up, I couldn't find it. I don't think so. I don't know the artist though.
I don't.
So doing some final moves to the head. Are we going to add anything else onto this dinosaur afterwards? No? Alright. So if you guys want a photo of the dinosaur today, or a closer look, I would get ready for that in a little bit. Once we're kind of finalized with the shape, maybe we'll walk it around so you can see a little closer look of the dinosaur. But once we're done with this, we're going to crack it off of that pipe. Hopefully it doesn't fall on the ground or explode, but if that doesn't happen, we're going to put it in the kilns. So back here we have these two glass kilns. These are called glass annealers. They're glass specific kilns, so they're kept at about 950 degrees right now. They're just sitting at that temperature. So all our glass today will go inside those and just sit until the end of the day, and then we're going to send it down slowly over about a 12-hour cooling schedule until it's about 100 degrees and we can take it out of there with our hands. So we won't actually be able to inspect this dinosaur close or see that true color until tomorrow morning. So unfortunately, only if you're here tomorrow will you see this in a cool final stage. But if you want to see it up close, we're about to do that in a little bit here.
And everything in Devon to put it on Instagram if they follow it.
If you guys get any good photos, we do have social media. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Just tag us in it if you want to post any photos of the demo. That's always awesome.
Flash.
You do?
We're just going to bend everything back in place once. And we'll do a flash walk.
Alright, so it's kind of moved a little bit, just being heated and whatnot. It's kind of moving on that connection point a little bit. So he's just going to bend it back to kind of its final form. And then we're going to call it good. Remember, we're always going between that 1,000 to 2,000 degree range, so everything, the longer we stay in the furnace, the more round and molten it wants to get again. It's always returning back to that kind of soupy, like glob of glass. All right, are you gonna walk it around after this one? Yeah. You can see that blue-green a little bit more on the neck and the head. It's a little thinner and a little cooler. So here it is. All right, there's the dinosaur. Walk the dinosaur, as Peter is. He's walking the dinosaur right now. We got the theme song. Is that it? Maybe I did find it. Maybe I did find it. There was a couple versions of it.
Yeah, walk the dinosaur.
Very good. So now James is getting ready with some Kevlar mitts over here so he can safely carry the piece into the kiln. Obviously we don't want to put this in our bare hands, it's very warm. So he's just going to preheat those a little bit in front of the door. That way the gloves aren't too cold to shock the dinosaur when we're holding it either. So anything can thermal shock the glass if it's on there too long. We do have this wooden block over here wrapped in Kevlar. That's our knockoff station. It's not looking so good right now, but we never put the glass on cold objects like a steel table, or it would just crack wherever it sits on that. We want to kind of put it on insulated things like Kevlar or fiber fracks, like insulation, or fire brick, something like that that won't suck heat out of it quickly. It's getting really close, so we want that temperature to be just right before we break it up. Remember all those little thin spots, the tail, with a little vibration, hopefully it comes off in a nice one piece of dinosaur instead of 2 or 3. There you go, he's going to chill it again. He's going right into the kiln. Yep. Alright, looks like it came off clean. Nice. Please give a round of applause to Peter and James. That was an awesome job. You can see it was a nice clean brick, so we'll survive and see another day. Alright, thank you guys. Please stick around and ask us questions. Otherwise, our next demo is at 6 p.m. and we'll try to make something different every time. Thank you.